Hey guys, it's Tim with Young Adults United, and you're tuned in to listen to me talk about my why. Yeah, weird, right? I'm here to have some fun with you, and hopefully by the end of this video, you are inspired. I will be honest with you, it's been a journey. To give a little bit of backstory, at 3 weeks old, I was adopted. My parents were older parents. My adoptive parents were older. They had adult children, some in college, some who had even gotten married, started their families. However, my childhood was amazing. I had an amazing family, a great village, and that helped really rear me. Whether it was grandparents, friends of the family, leaders in church, everybody has greatly impacted my life to, really be great, to reach for nothing but greatness. And I'm forever indebted and grateful for them. Or even with, all of that, there was always a dark cloud over my head as far as not knowing really who I was, not knowing who, birth parents were, what were they like, what traits do I have of theirs, were there any similarities, even who did I look like, facial features, everything. I just had a lot of questions going into my teenage years, later teenage years, young adulthood. I definitely was angry. I had a lot of frustration because of the questions that I didn't have answers to. I can remember even going into my senior year of high school, figuring out what I wanted to do, after graduation, going to college. What would my major be? What did I want to do with life? My mom would always say, you got to figure out what you want to do. You can't, say this one day, say another thing another day, really sit down, really pray about it. Many days, when we'd have that conversation, I would get angry. I would, not really express the way that I was feeling. I guess out of fear that I didn't want to hurt her feelings with the real questions that I had. I didn't have questions on, what do I want to major in? What school did I want to go to? I really had questions on, why am I here on earth? October 2003, I literally remember it was a Friday. I'd gone to lunch and I was extremely frustrated. I went to lunch alone. I was driving my car and I just had a whisper in my head of, you're nothing. You're not going to be anything. You're not going to succeed in life, so you might as well end it. I can remember, just sitting in my car, just in a secluded area, really crying because I was contemplating suicide. I was really thinking of ways to end my life. I went back to school. I ended up, getting out of class. I don't even know how I did it. But I just I was in band. I went to the band room and just kind of sat alone because I really just had a process, like, what just happened? Where are these whispers coming from? The church has taught us to kind of mask some things, and I learned to, put on that face and, put that smile on. No one, needs to hear really what all I was dealing with. So I just kind of tucked it in the back of my heart, put the smile on, and kept moving. Those whispers, however, would come up, periodically. I can remember moments in college that, were really dark, that, there would be days I would just lay in bed, and really just contemplate, God, why am I here? I don't serve a purpose. So at one point, my prayer was, just don't wake me up in the morning, God. I didn't even want to kill myself. I just did not want to wake up. After college graduation, I started serving in a church. I was starting a career. Things were, looking good. However, I still had this dark cloud. It was becoming more and more frustrating. It was getting more and more powerful, if, you could say, for me to not deal with. I could no longer, just tuck it in the back of my heart. I was leading a ministry, encouraging people, and here I am, struggling, leaving, an amazing service, a session, with mentees, and I'm, literally crying on my way home because I don't want to live anymore. I don't know who I am. I was talking to a friend one day, and it had nothing to do with, my struggle internally. It really was just, conversation, a catch up. And he stopped me in mid-sentence and was like, you know what, Tim, I really want to encourage you in this moment to start living your life as adopted, not aborted. You still have life. God has given you a purpose and you're here to serve it. You're walking into purpose, but your approach to things isn't you walking into your purpose fully. It was at that moment that I had to really, say, wow, I have life. I've been the walking dead for literally 25 years. I've had these questions, I've had these frustrations, and I've never addressed them with anybody. Had it not been that conversation that happened at that moment, I probably would not be talking to you today. Maybe a year after that conversation, my mother passed away. I can remember, me standing at her, literally her deathbed, praying, God, I know you to be a healer, but if she's fulfilled her purpose, then, I'm okay with your will. I knew it would hurt, but I had to, not even knowing that I was saying it, it just came out. And as it processed in my mind, I literally had to accept God's will for my life and for her life. Sitting at the funeral, I there was a peace that I could not explain. I had friends who were honestly worried, like, Tim, you've not cried. You need to, just break down. We're here for you. But, as I explained to them, I have a peace. Even the Bible says there's a peace that surpasses all understanding. That's the kind of peace that I was experiencing in that moment. Even today, I've not just, really had, this horrible grieving process. I have grieved. I've had my moments, they come in waves. Let me encourage anyone that's lost a parent or lost anyone that, you love. It comes in waves. Take those waves and, really deal with it. Let it, push you really to fulfill your purpose. I believe that my mother is, resting in peace. She fulfilled her purpose. Now she's taking her rest. That really helped me start living on purpose, start being more intentional with relationships. I can remember just, really a couple years after that, there were some friendships that I had to cut, transitions even in my career that happened. And, as they happened, it hurt. Some I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have cut that person off. However, they weren't compatible with my purpose. I kept hearing the word purpose compatibility. And I would say that to friends, this person isn't, compatible with my purpose. And I really, started finding peace in, okay, these changes in life, these transitions, it's, only pushing me to purpose. I had another really close friend, to pass away. And the week before she passed, I can remember her saying, I don't want to leave, because she was young. She was in her 30s. But I heard her say, but if I fulfill my purpose, then I have no reason to be here. I had that same peace, similar to my mom, that I knew it was only God giving me that peace. And, at that moment, I can remember driving back home, listening to music, and, I pulled up in my driveway and I literally said a prayer. And I said, God, from this moment, I only want to do things that please you. I only want to do things that's compatible with my purpose. Whatever that's, taking me away from my purpose, take it out. Cut it. Show me the things that I need to make changes on. Show me, the people that even now that I've not cut off, that I'm holding on to, if they need to be cut off, show me, because I don't want to do it. I want to make sure that everything that I do is pleasing to you. I don't want to, reach my end of the road and then not have fulfilled my purpose. I know there's purpose for me here in life. I know there's things that you've called me to do to make my imprint, in this world, and I want to make sure that I do it. At that moment, again, like I said, I'm experiencing a peace, and I really just, from, my mom passing, there was a level of, of motivation. When my friend passed, there's another level that I experienced that pushed me to do things even greater, to be even more intentional with, every day analyzing my day. Did you do what you were called to do today? Did you hear the voice of God? Did you speak to the person that you needed to speak to? Did you, reach out to the person that you felt that unction to? I became really intentional. Some people would say I was probably annoying because I would just checking on you. I would send a text and they're like, oh, come on, Tim, you're doing too much. But, I was being intentional with relationships. Now, here I am, being able to connect to, my siblings who are from my birth mother. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, honestly, I had no desire to have a conversation with them. However, there was always the question of, or the yearning really, to know background. But how can I know the background if I never connect with anyone that share the same background? It really helped me, that connection, that initial text from an older brother. Even with me having hesitation, he left it, in my court. Hey, the ball is on your side. If you decide to reach out, if you want to have the conversation, you can. If you don't, I respect it. Decided to go ahead and do it, and it's been interesting to say the least. But I find it funny that here I am now, in my 30s. The questions that I had as a teenager, some of those questions are now being answered. Back in October of 2003, had I taken my life, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have made the amazing friendships that I've made. I wouldn't be able to, experience some of the opportunities that I've been given. I've had some of the most amazing opportunities that some people would probably dream of, honestly, and God has afforded me to do it only because I'm walking in purpose. And ending this video, because I've talked way too long, I want to inspire you. The questions that you have, you're not crazy for having them. You're not crazy for being frustrated. The Bible even says, be angry but sin not. Of course, some things not knowing the answers to will create frustration. Ask those people, create, a safe zone of people who will keep it real with you, who will say, hey, you're being dumb in that moment. Had I not had the friend to say, Tim, you were not aborted, you were adopted, it wouldn't have been my aha moment to really open my eyes to say, okay, I got to do some things differently. I have to make different moves. Me having a prayer life, the moment with my mom, God, I want her here, but, if your will is to, let her rest and be at peace, then, I'm okay with that. Experiencing God's peace in that moment. All of these things that has happened, I just don't know where I would be had I not just, made different steps, had I not been frustrated and, not just given up, not just shut down, not ended my life. You're not crazy for the questions. You're not crazy for being, frustrated. You're not a bad person for even being frustrated. But, get the questions answered. Talk to God. Talk to those people that's in your circle. Make sure that they're holding you accountable. Cut the people off even that are not compatible with your purpose. If not, they will literally kill you. I can guarantee you there were people that were in my life that had I not cut them off, I would be dead right now. I hope that you've been inspired by my story and my journey of really finding out who I am, why I'm here on earth. Even my struggles of not wanting to be here on earth. I hope that now, you don't feel, crazy for, having questions, that you don't feel guilty for even being frustrated with some of those questions that you need answers to, but that you're, moved to do the things that, to make the next steps really to, walking in purpose. I hated that phrase YOLO, but, I take it with great, pride now, because I only have one chance at life, and I want to make sure when I take my final breath that I fulfill that purpose and that I've left an imprint on this earth. And I hope with this video that I've left an imprint on your heart and your mind to be better, to do greater. Thank you for tuning in with Young Adults United.
Please be sure to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below.
And also click the bell for updates.